Texas City Fire Department has decided to do a review of its response data from the last 3 months to see if we can identify any issues or trends that would be affecting our ability to respond in an emergency. Texas City Fire Department covers roughly a 10 square mile area with 2 fire engines. Engine 1 is responsible for 60% of the calls, and Engine 2 is responsible for 40% of the calls our department responded to during that time. In this 3-month period, which covered 62 days, there were 500 calls within our district. This averages to roughly 8 per day. Auto aid accounts for 10% of those calls, which is 50 calls. This would be due to our engines being tied up on other calls at the time. Those auto aid calls are pulled out of the data, so it did not skew our review, which in total leaves 450 calls that were responded to by Texas City Fire Department within that time. The average times we have were divided up into 3 different areas. First area being how long the dispatch center took to gather the information and dispatch a unit. The second being how long it took the unit to go responding from the time they were notified. And the third was how long the unit took from when they went responding to when they arrived on scene. Average time that the dispatch center took to take the call and dispatch one of our units was 1 minute 26 seconds. The average time for our unit to get the call and go responding was 47 seconds. The total average time for our response from the time the units went responding to arrival was 3 minutes 41 seconds. This gives Texas City Fire Department an average time of 4 minutes and 28 seconds from the time they were notified until the time they arrived on scene. And it gives a total call time of 5 minutes and 54 seconds from the time dispatch picked up the phone and answered the call to the time units were on scene to aid in the emergency. We also evaluated daytime versus nighttime calls to see how much that may have affected our responses. From our data, we were showing that 73% of our calls were during the day, while 27% of those calls were at night. The daytime calls, on average, had a faster time going responding, but a slightly higher travel time, which was attributed to more traffic during the day and running into delays such as rush hour and active school zones. The nighttime calls had a faster travel time due to not having so much traffic or school zones to come across, but they did have a slightly longer time from tones and getting alerted to going responding, which is easily attributed to the fact that those units would have been in their bunks at the time. All the times that we had were within limits and national averages, which Texas City Fire Department is proud to announce. We allowed a 5% variance on our averages on the travel time for unpredictable conditions such as weather and other factors which we were not able to pull out of the data. That left our average response time with variance at 3 minutes 58 seconds. There were 34 calls in that 3-month time which were greater than that time, which equates to roughly 7.5% of the total calls. After looking deeper into data, it was determined that the calls outside of our average time, plus the variance, were due to high traffic volumes, particularly during the rush hour times in the morning and the evening, as well as active school zones in the morning and the evening. We also identified an intersection at 1st and Main that appears to have significant traffic congestion throughout the day and has caused some response delays due to our engine's inability to easily get through the intersection. We were also able to identify some trends tied to fire alarms and nursing home responses. Our department will be in contact with the individual businesses that have had multiple fire alarms to try and proactively address the issues that have caused these repeated alarms, which hopefully will allow our units to be more available. We also will be in contact with the local nursing home, which we have identified to have a high volume of calls in the same rough times in the morning, which equates to crew changeover times as well as combining with rush hour traffic. And this particular situation has caused some of the delays that we have seen in our units. This data has given us good insight into some areas we need to be able to improve and implement changes within our district to help our response times. We were able to pull very accurate times to help us more easily identify issues. This data does have its weaknesses. Some of the variances are hard to calculate out, and the way we collect times and organize it can make it hard to identify a particular unit that may be lagging behind in their individual crew times. In addition to this data, we are also going to be in contact with the EMS to see if we can review their data as well and collaborate with them to see if they're having some of the same issues that we have identified. Texas City Fire Department is planning on looking into light controllers, particularly at First and Main, to see if we can help that response. We are also going to look into the possibility of putting controllers on all the lights within our district in the future. This committee will be organized and gathered soon to start moving that idea forward. In addition to that, Texas City Fire Department will start evaluating additional units in the future. We are aware that Texas City is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Texas, and that soon our calls will outpace the number of units we have to respond. So it is our duty to make sure that we are able to provide the best service for our citizens, and we will proactively be looking into the future and when that additional unit will be needed, so that Texas City Fire Department is prepared to deploy that unit so there is no drop in service when our call volume increases